Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is story time. I know some of you have been waiting for this story. Now, I posted a video about me not voting during the election last week, and my rights have been revoked because I'm a felon, and I talk about it in that video. Now I'm going to bring up some stuff I already went over in my last video, and then I'm really just going to talk about my jail experience from day 1 to day 28. So prior to going to jail, I was 23 at that time. I went to a bowling alley. It was a friend's birthday. I had not had one drink for the past 5 months, and then I ended up deciding to have 2 glasses of beer. We left about 2 hours after I had my last drink, and then I decided to go a different route, and I got pulled over for speeding. And they did all the tests, and I did the breathalyzer, and it was over limit, so they took me to the local jail. They asked me basic information, they took my blood, and they let me go. My phone was dead at this time, so I couldn't call anybody to come and get me, and so I went for a walk. Actually, I think I went to QT and got some hot chocolate because it was freaking cold. It was like the end of October, mid-October, and so I had no money to my name. I don't even think they let me get my wallet. I don't remember. But I flagged down a taxi, went to where I was staying at the time, and then that was it. I don't remember going to court right away. I don't feel like I did. I feel like I went in January the following year in 2014, and then they asked me if they can push it for further investigation, which I think was a mistake because I ended up being charged with an aggravated DUI. And I think if I would have just not pushed the investigation, they would have just charged me with a regular DUI, which would have been my second DUI. But because I allowed them to further investigate, an aggravated DUI is DUI while having a suspended license. So it's a lot harder than, actually no, it's not hard. I was totally procrastinating, if I could talk, and I didn't get my things done in time to that point. Why was I driving? You know what, I live in Maricopa and we don't have like public transportation, and I needed to work, and I took the risk. So anyway, I decided to drive, went to court. I got charged with an aggravated DUI. But the way I found out about my charges is I got a letter in the mail stating I was being charged with a class 4 felony, and that was mandatory minimum of 4 months in prison. And this is the day after I found out I was pregnant. And the only reason why that even matters is because I had previously miscarried 3 times, and I state this in my other video, but I was emotionally freaking out about my pregnancy and going through some of the same experiences. Also thinking that 4 months in prison, by the time I go to prison, I don't want to have a baby while in prison and then detach myself, and a lot of things going on in my head. So I had to go to court, and going through like court and all this stuff, getting a public defender, him telling me things that weren't even true at the end of the day, me trying to get a job while pregnant and having a regular life, also knowing that I was gonna go to jail. And so when I found out I was pregnant, I was working. I was working at the highest paying job I've ever had, massaging, And so when I found I was pregnant, found out I was going to go to prison, and then I decided to just live my life normal. If God wants me to have this baby, I will, but I can't live in fear. So I went to work one day, and the manager there was like, our boss is selling the company. And I was like, say what? And that was the warning of, you're not gonna have a job. So eventually I'm without a job, trying to look for work, because my public defender told me if you have a job, you can do the whole go to jail for 12 hours, get out for 12 hours for work, and then you have to report back. But because I was pregnant at the end of the day, I wasn't allowed to leave. So in Arizona, I don't believe that there's the 10th unit. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. In Arizona, they had like bunk beds outside, and that was like a theme for a long time. I don't believe that it's like that anymore. And so that would have been the option, my only option if I wasn't pregnant. But because I was pregnant, it's a medical thing, and I had to be put inside. But because I was put inside, I didn't have the option to work. They wouldn't let me out for those 12 hours. It was only for people that were in the tents, and that's how it worked. So anyway, I was pushing off my sentencing because I was doing good in my pregnancy. They were kind of keeping an eye on me at the beginning because I had previous miscarriages, and then everything was good up until I turned like 24 weeks, and I had to go see a specialist because they thought I had placenta previa. My placenta wasn't moving up. It starts at the bottom and then it moves up, and mine was still at the bottom, so they were a little concerned. So I had to push my sentencing, and then I found out everything was okay at about 25 weeks, and then I was still trying to look for a job. But then my following visitation with the public defender, he told me, well, if they put you inside because you're pregnant, you don't have that option. So it was pointless to even look for a job and have a job. And so the following court date, we pushed it another 30 days, and it put me at 27 weeks. And I might have all the timings wrong when I went to doctors and all that. Anyway, we set up court for sentencing October 26, 2014, and I was 27 weeks pregnant. So everybody knew I was going to jail. I mean, my siblings and my parents knew I was going to jail, obviously. And the plan was just, my sister was going to drop me off. I'm in like tights, a shirt, a jacket, my Nikes. I left her my phone. They said don't come with jewelry, don't wear anything, just clothes, shoes, and that's it. So I go and I'm in court, and not only am I in court, there's other people that have court as well. So a few people went before me. They called me up. Of course, the judge tells me how irresponsible I was for doing what I did, which totally is irresponsible. And the public defender asked to lower my sentencing time because I had previously done 2 days, which my first DUI I did 1 day, and then I spent like a couple hours in jail when they arrested me. And so she lowered it down to 28 days, which is exactly 4 weeks. But that was that. And, you know, she asked me, is there anything you want to say? And I'm like, no. What is there to say? Like, plead my case? Like, it's not going to lower my sentencing or make me seem like I'm a better human being. Like, I screwed up, and I'm just here to pay my dues. Like, Can we stop wasting time? Anyway, I walked over to the desk, signed all the paperwork. I knew that that same day my probation was going to start. I was given 3 years of probation. My license was revoked for a year. I had to do all these classes that are mandatory by law, and yada yada yada. 28 days in jail. They were willing to drop it to a misdemeanor once all my fines were paid off, which is cool. So went over to the receptionist desk, signed everything, put me in pretty little pink handcuffs, and took me to the back where they have a couple of cells. Really small. It's honestly like I have a wall here. Like I could touch the wall with my hands. Like it was small. And then I was probably there for an hour and a half, and then they brought another girl in. And it's weird how people just go into that place and they'll be like, hey, what's up? What'd you do? It's like, man, mind your business. Anyways, obviously my channel is about being open, but at that time, being all hormonal and shit, I was like, can you not? I'm very vulnerable, and I'm pregnant, and I gotta go to jail. I don't know. I don't even remember. Anyway, that's probably how I was thinking, but I told her, I'm like, DUI, like, it's not that big of a deal. And so, maybe 3-4 hours pass by. They take both of us out, put us in a line where a bus, truck, van, whatever, came and picked us up. And then they dropped some people also that had court. So dropping off, picking up, and then there was a gate, and the men were in the front and the girls were in the back. And I really think it is weird that you're on a bus and you see this pregnant chick, it doesn't matter what she did, and you're trying to like talk to her and she's going to jail. In that moment, I didn't say anything to the guy that was talking to me. He was trying to make conversation, and I'm like, do you realize we're going to jail? Like, you've probably been in jail, but like, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, just let me examine what the hell I'm experiencing right now. You know, don't add to my vulnerability. Anyway, we got to a jail, county jail, the local jail, Phoenix jail, whatever. And the processing started. So at this point, it was already nighttime, almost evening, and they take the handcuffs off. They start us at the beginning of the processing, and before anything they drug test you. I don't remember if it was just they just took urine. I don't think they took my blood. No, I think it was just urine, just to make sure I wasn't on anything. And there's a very, very sweet black officer there. And I only say he was black because he is black. African American. Is that better? Is it wrong to say one or the other? I don't know. Anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and say black because he's my brother. But he was really sweet. And he was being, I noticed that he was being nicer to me than everybody else. Not only that, when they got my results back, they're like, you're the first cleanest person we've had all night. And I was like, that's crazy. That's kind of sad and that's crazy at the same time. Anyways, I sat down and the process started. They took our mugshot, they put in our basic information, they confirmed everything, and then we had to sit back down. And then I had to go to the restroom. And they're like, no, we don't, you can't. And I'm like, bruh, like, I got a baby. She's pushing on my bladder. I'm gonna need you to use your facilities. So the black officer took me to a private one. It was a cell in the back, and I came out and I kind of like opened the door. I was like like, is there soap? Like, I need to wash my hands. So he brought me a little cube of soap, and then as soon as I walked out, he was like, you don't belong here. What are you doing here? I was like, I fucked up. And he gave me hand sanitizer. And I was like, thank you, sir. Because I'm such a germaphobe. God only knows. Like, I was like, thank you, seriously. Like, can I just, like, you know, is there a shower somewhere around here? But, anyways, at that point, they called a few of us back, like, in a group of, I want to say, like, 5. Ugh. Hold that thought. My nose is itchy. I wash my face with not face soap. Anyway, they made us undress ourselves and take off everything that had metal or wires, obviously. And then they checked us, made sure we didn't have anything on us, whatever. And then they put us in the first big cell. And that was kind of like, holy crap. People were coming in that knew each other. People were taking stuff out of their hoo-has. I'm gonna say it was probably heroin. And they would, like, talk to each other and be like, yo, you know what's his face? And oh my God, like, I was just sitting there like, first of all, I'm tired. And I was just like, y'all are for real? Like, you must be really good at this, because I'm like, I'm not freaking out. I'm just like, what is going on here? Y'all know each other. It's like, just, you know, just a regular Wednesday, going to jail, no big deal. Somebody will bail me out, whatever. And like, just people knew each other. And I was just, I was tired, but I didn't sleep. I was like, I'm not trying to like lay down in front of these girls that are taking drugs out of their hoo-has. Like, I'm not, no. So I just sat there and minded my own business. There were some people that were like, you know, hold that thought. Okay. Oh, my nose is so stuffy. It's so cold. Excuse me. Very ladylike. Okay. Alright. So, yeah, so these girls like know each other, talking, and then they move us to like the medical side of things and asked us all our medical information. Do you have allergies, asthma? Are you on any type of medication? What kind of medication was it for? When was that diagnosed? All this medical stuff. And I think with me, they were kind of like, they knew I was like a normal person, like not on drugs, not like, you know, this is my first time in jail, like I'm not just, you know, I screwed up. And so I feel like they were probably talking to me, like treating me normal, and talking to me about personal stuff. Not, they weren't getting super personal, but it was, you know, whatever. And so I'm gonna like fast forward, because really they were just processing us in different places and rooms and stuff, and the whole process took about 31 hours. And I know that because I knew when I went to court, and I knew when I got to where I was, and I'm like, holy crap, I've been up for 31 hours, because I couldn't sleep. Like, I didn't want to sleep around these people. And not that they were like aliens or anything, I just didn't trust them, so I didn't want to fall asleep. And the processing in the actual jail, they put us in a bus, they took us that process took a couple hours because they had to divide us into certain units. Of course, they did the drop your drawers, pop a squat, cough, stand up. It's very interesting. And I feel because I was pregnant, I'm like, you know what? Somebody's gonna be in my hoo-ha in a couple of months. Like, might as well like start being used to it, I guess. I don't know. Not the type of environment I would like to be in when I'm that vulnerable, but it only gets better. So they put me in, I think, D. I believe it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. And once I got there, they had somebody move from the lower bunk to an upper bunk because I was pregnant. They couldn't put me on an upper bunk. And somebody helped me. The person that moved from that bunk helped me set up my bunk. And she did little knots. And I just like lay down and like put sheets over my head and I was out. I was woken up for dinner because they make you wake up and they call you by number. So you have to wake up, otherwise you don't eat. And because I was pregnant, I would get 2 bags. So you have 3 meals and 2 snacks. And I got a snack bag. Maybe I was woken up for snack, but it like came with an apple, peanut butter, that's God only knows where it comes from, and like whatever, what else was in the bag, whether it was vegetables or like a milk. There was milk, cheese, or egg, like a hard-boiled egg. And I was, I don't know, I slept and I woke up and then they do laundry and so much was going on. So I think it was a Wednesday that I was processed in. And then once I got there and woke up, it was Thursday, or maybe it was Tuesday, Wednesday, because right away, I think Thursdays was like, where you can go to the church. I don't even think they called it church. Mass. I don't remember. But it was like my second day in jail that I went to Mass, I guess. And they just take you to this other room, I suppose. And I'm kind of missing a lot of stuff. I totally tried to, like, you know, disregard this part of my life out of my memory. So I keep telling you guys stuff, and then I keep remembering stuff that happened before that. Because before that, my bunkie right next to me, we had a conversation about my tattoos, and we talked about one in particular that I have here on my finger, and it's the 3 most important forms of love in the Bible. And she was super like about Jesus, and we talked about agape, which is a specific type of love. And then we went to Mass. It was kind of creepy because the lady that was there actually talked about that, and she brought it up, so it's kind of freaky. The girl that was my bunkie, she looked at me, she's like, oh my God, praise the Lord, Jesus. Like, it was just so dramatic. And I want to say, like, my first week was the longest. No, the quickest. It went by really fast. The tough parts about jail for me was that I had to pee and poo and take showers in front of all these women, and I was always trying to go when they were like closer to bedtime because everybody was getting ready to go to bed and nobody was showering. So I want to say like the first like week I was able to shower and nobody else was showering, so that was very interesting. I remember my first shower, this lady came up to me, she's like, you're pregnant, I'm pregnant too. And I was like, oh really? Wow, how far along are you? And then she had like, it looked like she was coloring her hair, and I'm like, how are you coloring your hair in jail? She's like, oh, it's Kool-Aid. I was like, oh. And I heard you could do that. So I was like, interesting. It was red, so I was like, that's a cool color. And I found out she was a little cuckoo and she wasn't pregnant. Because she was like a really problem in jail. Like she was like, how dare you, I'm pregnant, blah, blah, blah. And although like correction officers were like, girl, please stop that noise. But honestly, like the 2 following weeks I was just lazy. And it took about a whole week and a half to be able to get my sister and my mom to come visit me, which really they only did visitation by video. And I told my sister if she could send me some money because I wanted to buy real human food and not have jail food. Sometimes we get like good rice and brownies, and you know, that was good. The apples were fine. Sometimes we got oranges, and the cheese was okay. The egg, you know, I didn't always eat the egg. And prior to going to jail, I was still kind of working out at the beginning of my pregnancy, so I really was just like, I gotta get up and I gotta walk and I gotta eat my protein. And so after my sister and my mom visit me, my sister sent me money, and every Monday you had to turn in the paper of what you wanted to buy. So I got like real soap and lotion that was watered down. All the girls were like, get the hair stuff, like the cocoa butter hair stuff, and use it as lotion because it's a little bit more moisturizing. And at the time that I went to jail, I didn't have stretch marks, and then I started getting them in jail, and I was like, I don't have access to cocoa, nothing, you know, nothing that I could put on. And I really didn't want to put this hair stuff on my body, so I was like, crap-a-doodle. But once I was able to buy stuff and they bring it to you in a bag, and then all the girls teach you like, oh, try this, it tastes like menudo. Oh, try this, it tastes like tamales.